Hello, friends, and welcome to another exclusive edition of Conversations with Love on Backbreaker Media, a proud member of the Win Column Sports Network. As always, I am your host, Spencer Love, host of both Conversations with Love and Over the Top Rope here on the network, both podcasts of which are proudly sponsored by Beercade YEG, where you can catch everything and anything having to do with Edmonton wrestling, including this weekend's upcoming Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Guys, it's not often you get the opportunity to get to interview your favorite wrestler or one of your favorite wrestlers, and through this podcast I have been very, very lucky to speak to a few of my favorites, whether that be Michael Richard Blaze, Christian Strife, Parrish, KJ, Colton Kelly, any of the other people we've had on here. But it's not often you get to talk to someone who's a genuine bucket list interview, and I'm very, very happy to bring to you guys this week my conversation with Nicole Matthews. Nicole Matthews, who you guys may know or should know if you're listening to a wrestling podcast, to be quite honest with you, as the Shimmertaker, a former Mae Young Classic competitor picking up a win this year, a former Mae Young Classic reserve, actually as a reserve last year. She is the first Canadian Shimmer champion. She's a former RCW women's champion. Nicole Matthews is just a good professional wrestler. There's really no other way to put it. And I was very, very happy to get to speak with her after this weekend's Real Canadian Wrestling show, Fight for Respect, in Edmonton, Alberta. Of course, Nicole Matthews walking into that event as your Real Canadian Wrestling women's champion. Unfortunately, no longer the champ. She did lose the championship despite not being pinned or submitted, which is something that we're going to get into here a little later on in the interview. But guys, I just genuinely wanted to say that this was very, very exciting for me. I really hope you enjoy the interview. And after we come back from the break, we will hear my conversation with love with former RCW women's champion, the Shimmertaker, Nicole Matthews, when we come back.
If you like podcasts and you are listening to them on Backbreaker Media, then you should listen to me, Chris Parrish,
and myself, Manoyan,
and the Sounds of Struggle, because we are literally the most entertaining duo you'll ever come across in Western Canadian wrestling, baby.
We talk about things like wrestling
and other sports we like.
Wrestling.
But we won't talk about other sports that we don't like, because it's not that kind of podcast.
Like wrestling.
I mean, we like hockey.
And wrestling.
And we like football.
And wrestling.
And we also like to drink beer.
While wrestling.
Well, not while wrestling, but while watching wrestling.
Yes.
Yeah. If you want to get into a conversation with Maniac and Chris Parrish, then you need to tune into the Sounds of Struggle live on Backbreaker Media.
Every Thursday.
It's when we hope to drop, but sometimes Mike Malawany doesn't do his job right.
Or we're too drunk to forget.
Yeah, that happens too.
Yeah.
He can bleep out the swear word, because we weren't supposed to do that.
Oh,
but
I'll try not to swear. I can't do it.
Yeah. Let's face it, the two of us, we're real.
And spectacular.
And we're a little bit of all right.
Yeah.
We're also strugglicious.
That we are.
That was kind of the key. Supposed to be a strugglicious.
Oh, sorry, I'm drunk.
Yeah. So, if you don't want to listen to us, then no. You're stupid, because we're entertaining. And if you want to listen to us, then, come listen to us on Backbreaker Media.
Yeah.
Later,
He said.
Later, bitches.
Welcome back to Over the Top Rope on the Backbreaker Media Network. We are proud members of Win Column Sports, and I, your host, Spencer Love, am proud to be able to be one of the, honestly, top names on the independent scene. I can't put it any other way. I am so excited to be joined by Nicole Matthews, the Shimmertaker. This is our second take of this, because you were telling me how we got into the story before I realized I'm only recording on one mic, so...
Well, let's just get back into that, then.
The Shimmertaker is joining me, and first and foremost, how did you get to this?
So it was basically just a couple of friends fucking around. We're allowed to swear, right?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, good, okay. Because I don't think I can have a conversation without swearing.
We're set, don't worry.
So it was Lenny Leonard, who is the play-by-play commentator for Evolve, and he was doing ring announcing for Shimmer that weekend. And I just decided, I was going to do a comedy angle that set of tapings, and I was like, I'm going to call myself the locker room leader and blah blah blah. So we were just coming up with random bullshit like that, locker room leader and the girl, or the the women all the girls look up to or whatever, just like bullshit like that. And then we were just trying to think of funny names. He's like, how about Shimmertaker? And I was like, yes, that is the best name ever.
Well, and it's stuck. And, for a lot of the reasons you bring up, you've obviously got a decorated resume between ECCW, RCW now.
Oh, man, add that to the resume.
Real Canadian Wrestling Champion. You're the longest reigning, I guess, co-longest reigning tag team champion in Shimmer. You're basically one of the best compliments you can give a wrestler is like, you're a grizzled veteran of the independent scene.
Grizzled.
Well,
for sure.
It's great. I'm a hockey fan. I believe you're a hockey fan as well.
Yeah, of course.
A grizzled vet to me is just someone who gets the job done, and you've been doing it for years. I guess let's start with where most people would know you from is the May Young Classic. You were an alternate in the first year.
Yeah.
You wrestled in the second year. You picked up a win this season.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
What was it like wrestling for them? Because as far as I know, and I might be wrong here, but that was your first time wrestling for WWE.
I wrestled for NXT once before that. I was out, it was when they were in Toronto. So I ended up being able to do that against Asuka, getting my ass kicked, obviously.
That's got to be such a cool experience.
It was really fun, and I've known her from when she was in Shimmer as Kana, right? So it was cool to just be in there with someone I'd been in before.
Yeah.
And it was a super fun experience. And then one thing leads to another. Eventually, I end up in the Mae Young.
Yeah.
And then it was cool. Picked up a win. Went to the second round. Got to face Tegan Knox in the second round, who's someone I faced before in Shimmer as well.
Yeah.
And it was a cool experience.
Very, very cool. How did that sort of process start? Was it just the NXT experience?
Yeah, I'm not the best at networking in wrestling. I just kind of fall into things, and I don't know, I just kind of emailed them. I'm like, hey, do you need anybody? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. And it was
perfect, this was easy.
Yeah, it was very, which always made me think, I'm like, man, if I just emailed them sooner, what could have happened? So I'm like, you just gotta ask for it sometimes, I guess. I don't know. I didn't know it was that easy. Well, it's not that easy. I wish.
That's exactly why I'm sending off emails every week. Yeah. I actually spent 2 hours trying to send a fax for the first time in my life, trying to get an interview with Peyton Royce. And then it was hard. Half of it was trying to figure out the fax machine.
Well, yeah.
And then the other half was just they're busy. But either way.
That's so antiquated, though.
I know,
fax
right?
Machine. I'm like, just scan it and email it, right?
What I was sort of told is that they do it to keep the riffraff out. You're not serious if you don't send a fax.
You're not serious if you don't learn the old school technique of the fax.
100%. If you're not spending an hour in a Staples looking like an idiot at a piece of old technology, you're not worth it as far as World Wrestling Entertainment is concerned.
And there's other people who are working there who just look at you clueless too.
They want to come and offer, but they don't want to because they know you'll be offended. That's neither good nor bad. After the Mae Young, were there any talks of signing with WWE? Because obviously, you're talented enough to be there. You're someone who would be a huge asset for them. But there is also the personal connection there. I know with ECCW, you credit, I guess, Rebecca Knox is a huge influence on you.
Yeah.
A lot of people would know her as Becky Lynch now.
Yeah.
I guess 2 questions, because I'll sidestep one of them. Were there any plans to sign with WWE or any talks there? And what sort of relationship do you have with Becky Lynch now?
So there weren't really any formal talks or anything. It's always doors open. They're very, especially right now because they're just signing so many people, and their girls division is growing exponentially. It's if you just look at the NXT girls roster right now, you're they have enough for an army, I think.
100%.
Honestly, there's at least 25 girls on the roster, I think.
Yep.
And that's not including NXT UK girls.
Saying NXT UK, NXT, all their sort of unsigned, we're figuring out what to do.
Exactly, yeah. So there wasn't anything like that, but doors always open, I guess.
Yeah.
But my relationship with Becky Lynch is very good still. We're not I'm not gonna say we're BFFs or anything, but it's always hugs, how are you, when we see each other. Always a lot of support.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And she did actually put you over.
She
as
did.
The top women's
She did
last
last year.
There.
That was so nice of her. She's such a sweetheart, and I'm so happy to see how successful she is right now.
What do you think a run like hers right now? I know a lot of people are throwing out Stone Cold comparisons or Hulk Hogan. What do you think a run like this that I really haven't seen in women's wrestling since maybe AJ Lee?
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah, even then, I don't even think
exactly.
it's the same.
What do you think it's doing, not just for wrestling, but for women's wrestling in particular?
I think it's So they've been doing this women's revolution thing, and it's been awesome, obviously. But I think sometimes when they do certain things, it's a little put on a little. Like they're, it's like, this is a moment, and appreciate this moment, and nothing's going to be the same ever again after this moment. First ever Hell in a Cell match, first ever Rumble, first ever Battle Royal, and a WrestleMania, So it's like they try to create moments, which you need to do sometimes. But I think like this is a very genuine thing going on with Becky Lynch, and I think that's like, you can't force that, and it's just something that's come naturally. So it is kind of like a Stone Cold, a situation, and like we haven't seen that ever in a women's wrestler. There was the AJ Lee. AJ Lee was so popular, but her popularity back then compares not to anyone now, really, just because it's gone so far, the women's revolution, right?
Yeah.
But no, it's so unique, and I think it's just going to be good for everybody. And I think, like, with this, when women are in the main event at WrestleMania, which I think they're going to be this year.
I completely agree with
Yeah, like, I feel they are with all this momentum. It won't feel like they're doing it for the sake of doing it. It'll feel like that's what should be in the main event.
For me, I think that the coolest, the level I want it to be at some point, and some point soon, is where they're not having to advertise it. Like you said, as the first time ever. I don't want it to be, it's the first time ever women are main eventing, whether it be Becky and Ronda or Charlotte and Becky and Ronda, whoever it is.
Yeah.
I want it to be about, and I think they're going that way.
They totally are.
It's because they deserve the main event, because they do have the best female in it.
My God, do they ever?
I would 100% say that.
For sure. That's what I want to watch. Like, I remember was TLC the last pay-per-view? Whatever the last, okay. So, like, honestly, the best two matches by country mile were the TLC match with Becky, Asuka, and Charlotte, and, like, Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, because I fucking love those two, because they're amazing. Yeah. But, like, it wasn't like, that was good for a girls' match. It wasn't, and it's not like that anymore. Like, that was a hot match, and it blew all the other, like, gimmick guys matches out of the water, I thought. Yeah. I don't think there's any comparison.
That's why I think Evolution was such a huge success.
Yeah, for sure.
It wasn't just a successful women's pay-per-view. It was just a successful pay-per-view.
What I loved about the women's Evolution pay-per-view was they happened in the same month as that Crown Jewel pay-per-view, right?
It was like 5 days apart or some shit
right,
like that.
So close together, and it was fucking no competition. Yeah. What one was better? Yeah. That Crown Jewel pay-per-view was like, it lacked compared to the women's.
It takes a lot for WWE to make you want to forget Shawn Michaels' return.
Right?
What are your whole thoughts on that? Because you are fairly, I don't want to say outspoken, but you are opinionated. You will state your opinion.
I have been told that in the past, yes. It's gotten me in trouble, yes, but that's okay.
But what would your opinion be on, like, running a Crown Jewel that close to Evolution, where, I mean, you can take the business side out of it. There is the sort of
human
look
rights
of running this 5 days after you're running what is genuinely a historic pay-per-view.
Honestly, if the Evolution pay-per-view wasn't as good as it was, I think it would have left a way worse taste in my mouth. It would have felt like they were just doing it to be like, okay, yeah, we're running in this terrible country.
Forget about this.
Exactly, like shiny object over here, distraction. But because it was so good, it really didn't deter from it. Like, it didn't deter from the women's pay-per-view. But, like, I think it's whatever. I think it's garbage that they're wrestling in Saudi Arabia. I don't think that they should be wrestling somewhere where, like, a good portion of, like, all the women can't wrestle there. Sami Zayn can't wrestle there because he's Muslim. Like, it's like all these, and if anyone was gay, they wouldn't be able to wrestle there. Like, that's pretty bad. If you're an inclusive company, sorry.
100%, especially after you look at the greatest Royal Rumble and the propaganda they put out for that. They basically undersold everything at Crown Jewel. I think that's the worst part. That's not the worst part. But the fact they're standing by it, they're trotting out a Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, yada, yada, yada. And even listening to Talking to Jericho the other week, he said it would have been one of his top paydays ever.
Really?
Yeah, and I think Jericho, that's saying something.
Yeah, he's got a couple good paydays.
He's done a few things.
A few things and stuff, for
What are your thoughts on AEW?
That's pretty cool. I'm really excited to see where they go with it. I think any competition's good, obviously. Yeah. But they seem to be going in a very different direction to WWE, so I'm very excited to see where they end up. Actually, I have been checking my phone at the Defy results at Space Staff Seattle, because my husband's wrestling there tonight. Yeah, Arden Spencer, Defy champion.
Very cool.
Sorry, God put him over.
I never want to just say get your cheap plug in. Get your cheap plug in.
Yeah, I'll get that cheap plug in. I plug him every time I can. He texted me. It's out now, so I don't feel bad about saying it. But Young Bucks are there.
Very
and
cool.
they just came out to be like, so, and they're like scouting for All Elite right now in Seattle.
So very cool.
Yeah, so like that's so different. Like WWE agents when you come to a random Seattle indie show, right?
Yeah.
Like, Defy's pretty big, but like still,
but
like
it's
West
still
Coast.
cool to see guys like that out there.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to be at All In. I think just being there was such a good experience, and to be able to take that to the next level, like, you really get the best of both worlds, because you do get the sort of big production value.
Yeah.
You do get all the stuff you love on the WWE show, the fucking pyro,
Yeah.
all of it. But for me, it was such a unique feel, specifically on All In, but I'm sure will continue, and that there wasn't anybody in the crowd there to get themselves over. There's nobody coming out with a fucking CM Punk.
Right.
Nothing like that, and I think that Double or Nothing's the next event. I think it's going to be a huge step forward.
I'm even curious because I think, like you said, they'll have the best of both worlds, or they'll have the production and yada yada. But WWE has a very easy to spot formula with a lot, not their matches necessarily, but like how they always work the hard cam and like the movements and going to commercial break at this time. And I think it will be like you won't see that. I don't think as much. Like there'll be other things, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sort of tropes.
Yeah, exactly. Like okay, there's been like 5 million pulses in every match or whatever.
Yeah.
But like I think it'll feel more raw.
Yeah.
Like excuse the pun. Like more like less like polished in a good way.
Yeah.
Because I think like wrestling shouldn't be that polished sometimes. I think it should be rough around the edges.
You should sort of have the grime around it. I know what you mean.
So,
it's like going to a dive bar versus going to like a Joey Tomato.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I just seeing, it's just like WWE's everything's so shiny, and it's like it's very professional. And like when I was down there for the Mae Young, it was. I'm not a TV wrestler, so it took some adjusting for me to work the TV camera because I don't do that. I didn't know where the camera was tonight. If there was one, I don't care. I look for the crowd.
Has to go into that something like WWE, like the Mae Young. So not only 2 matches, but you were there for 2 matches.
Yeah.
You weren't there for the full ride. How much do they have to sort of work you up to being ready for TV?
I must say they were really hands off for the most part because like my agent for both. Well, one of the matches at least was Sarah Amato, who's Sarah Del Rey from before, and I've known her for a decade now.
Very cool.
Yeah, so she's just like, okay, what's your finish? Cool, and like going over some things and like, okay, where are you going to do that spot? Where are you going to do that spot? And like to me, I'm just like, well, I didn't think of that. Like I'm just where they go is where I'll go, kind of thing. But it's like they need to know certain things because they need to know what to like cut to, what to do this, and blah blah blah. And I just don't think like that. So that was a big adjustment for me.
I'm going to do this where she happens to be at the time.
Yeah, exactly. Like I just go with it. And yeah, it was weird because at the Mae Young and NXT is the same way because it's the same arena. Where the hard cam is, there's only 2 rows of fans.
Oh really?
Yeah. So all the fans are behind you and beside you, right? So it'd be like, I guess there's no comparison to tonight. Yeah, so it's really weird because you want to work with people behind you, but you have to work the camera because that's where the audience is. But like, I don't think like that because I think live audience all the time.
There's someone everywhere.
Yeah, so like that was definitely an adjustment for me. It's like, oh, you got pause here and get your facial expressions and your entrance. You need to pause at this time and blah blah. And I'm like, well, what is your entrance? I don't know what my entrance is. I just come out. Like, I don't have an entrance.
Well, even tonight, it's whatever song that they,
Yeah, basically, like just push me out when I'm supposed to go, and I'll go. But like a lot, you're supposed to have like a routine when you come out, and blah blah. And so that was a big adjustment for me, the presentation of it. So anyways, like with All Elite, like I don't think there'll be as much of that.
Yeah.
Like the production will be like, okay, this, you gotta hit this. I think it'll be a lot more wrestler driven. So I think it'll be cool. Like, I'm interested to see how the product is.
Would you have a preference on where you would want to go if you had a choice?
I think. Well, I have a career outside of wrestling, so I think All Elite would be a lot more flexible.
Yeah.
From what I understand, I don't really know what their business model is at this point.
Yeah.
But it would be a really tough choice for me to go to WWE full time and move my life to Florida.
Yeah.
So if I think All Elite's going to be what I think it is, I choose a more flexible
Thumbs down.
one.
100%. Well, yes, let's talk about a little bit of the independence. I use that word lightly because nobody can really sit and say that Shimmer is a small promotion.
Right.
Tell me about it. What do you love about it?
Shimmer, well, it gave me everything, basically.
Yeah.
Shimmer was that's how anyone knows who I am in Shimmer.
Yeah.
It's just given me so many opportunities, got to work so many. When I was younger, they put me against so many vets, like Daisy Hayes and Cheerleader Melissa and Nikki Ross, and then Aiko Hamada. Sorry, it was fuck up her name. Aiko Hamada. And it's just I just got all this so early in my career, and it just was amazing that I was trusted with that, and it just helped me as a worker so much.
Yeah.
And I can never thank Shimmer enough. And then it was weird. There was sometime a few years ago where they're people would come up to me and ask me for advice and stuff, and I'm like, oh, no, I'm not.
I'm not the veteran.
No, there's other people around here. No, don't talk to me. I'm like, Madison Eagles is right there. Go talk to her.
Is that
Mercedes Martinez is there.
Is that one of the big reasons you're so loyal to him, is that you sort of got that rookie experience with them, or the trainee experience? And it is sort of your chance to pass that on?
Oh, for sure. I love Shimmer. And it's just getting more popular because women's wrestling's getting more popular,
100%.
which is so nice to see that has trickled down. One time the trickle-down effect actually works. Not in economics, but in wrestling apparently.
Bazinga!
Yeah, hello. So that's awesome that he's finally getting, Prazak, the promoter, is finally getting some recognition for his role. Because honestly, there wouldn't be a women's revolution without Dave Prazak.
Yeah.
Straight up. You look at the roster in WWE, and a lot of the girls who are carrying the load are Shimmer alumni.
Yeah.
Right?
I was going to say, not people who passed through, people who were there, made a statement.
Exactly. And even if it wasn't girls who went through Shimmer, they benefited from women's wrestling being taken more seriously.
Yeah. What would you think? I know the WrestleMania main event is sort of the next logical step as far as the revolution is, but what would you think it would be? If there's a next phase of the women's revolution, where do we go from here?
You know what? It's crazy with the amount of women they have in the company that they don't have a separate show yet. Okay. So I think maybe a separate show at one point. I don't know. I don't want it to be 205 Live though, where it's before the show.
It's there, but and
exactly.
this isn't done yourself 205, but it's not like it's the most
no
brand on the show, and you do want to do it justice. Especially
maybe it rather being on maybe the third hour of Raw is all. I don't know. I don't know how to really do it, but they just have so many people right now. It's nuts.
Yeah.
I don't you can't get everyone on TV, right? I guess before that, just getting more women wrestling segments on the shows, right? Instead of they're getting a bit better with it, but when you only have time for one feud, in the division, and there's frickin' 50
to say
girls.
40 or 50 talented. This isn't
exactly. They're not just they're people who should be featured.
100%.
And even in NXT, I know NXT and WWE are different, but NXT is the fact that Deonna Purrazzo and Candice LeRae are featured every week. It's just wow, there is so much talent there right now.
Yeah.
I can't even name all the talent in
Who
NXT.
are some of your favorites out there right now? Whether it be WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, wherever.
I'll just stick with women's wrestling just because that's easier for me to think about. Madison Eagles is the best woman I've ever been in the ring with, bar none.
Okay.
Yeah, and
why is that? Just chemistry?
Chemistry for sure, but she's just incredibly strong. She's incredibly technically gifted, and she's very creative.
Yeah.
So those combo You know, it just creates magic. It's like hard to have I've never seen her have a bad match. And like she disagrees, because she'll come back and be like, "Oh, no shit," you know. But it's not like she always has good matches.
Shut up, Madison.
Yeah, whatever. Not all of us are incapable of having a bad match, Madison. But she's amazing. Well, right now, like, you know, what Becky has going on, like, you can't top that.
That
like,
almost goes without saying.
Right? It's just, yeah, exactly. I can't even verbalize it at this point. It's
Yeah.
just so good. I love what Shayna's been doing. And I think it's like almost a little too bad, like that Ronda maybe will overshadow her. I don't know.
I agree.
Overshadow. That's the wrong word. But like, I think that
the edge to Shayna's Christian.
yeah, like Shayna's just so good and so talented that I hope that when she gets brought up, there's not like an overshadowing.
I hope they don't affiliate her and Ronda off.
I think they will. They will though, with the 4 horsewomen thing.
And I think that's a mistake of a way to just bring them up. I think that's going to be one of the feuds of the decade. Don't get me wrong, but I think that if you want to build Shayna, and even if you do include Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir with Shayna in their head, I think you're going to benefit her just so much more in the long run.
Because I worked with Shayna a lot when she first started wrestling. Yep. So I was her like kind of first feud on the indies, rather. And we had like 3 or 4 matches against each other, and she just like it was nuts how fast she picked it up. Like I was her 3rd match, I think, it was just like obviously she has all that catch wrestling background and MMA background, so and she's a huge fan, so she it clicked right away. But she like picked it up so quickly, and like to see her progress. Like, see her progress from, like, the first match I had with her to, like, the last match was nuts. And then to see her progress from, like, the Mae Young Classic last year, or just 2017, to now is nuts. Yeah. Like, how much she's improved since she got signed by WWE. Like, man, I don't know. That's a super athlete right there. It's 100%. Crazy.
Like, how much... I've never participated in combat sports. I was really bad at the ones I did. How much does, like, an MMA or a catch wrestling or any sort of background like that help? Do you have any background?
I don't really, but like I've done some like here and there after I started wrestling though, so it didn't really help me. You know, it wasn't like that helped me with pro wrestling. I think it's super beneficial, but not everyone who does MMA can do pro wrestling. Like you have to have an it factor, you have to have a personality. Like the 2 best ones, and like Ronda's like Ronda, and like, you know, she's done very well too, but like she's been protected.
Yep,
you know,
100%. So
someone like Shayna and Matt Riddle came through the indies and got signed that way, and like obviously they had a bit of an advantage over like Joe Blow over there, but like they kind of came the right way or whatever, and they both have incredible personalities. So it's not just like, oh wow, they're super athletic and they can hit hard and they can do all these submissions. They also brought personality.
You gotta have like some sort of character to it.
Exactly. Give me a reason to want to watch you.
Exactly.
And they both do that.
So it's the biggest reason, to be honest with you, that I watch professional wrestling over watching UFC.
Yeah, for sure.
2 dudes or 2 women beat each other up, like chances are if you watch that behind 7-Eleven,
yeah.
Right?
But are they cutting sweet promos at 7-Eleven?
No, and I think that's the biggest issue.
Get out, yeah.
There's usually not like a 6-sided steel cage.
Okay. Well.
Sometimes they fight in a dumpster, that works.
Well, that's a good gimmick match, though. That's good. You know.
I love it. Where would you know? Like, we talk about character. What sort of character would you say you have? Where does Nicole Matthews come from?
I'm a little schizo with my character. Like, it kind of just depends on what I'm feeling that day.
Yeah.
So, you know, when I'm like heel, I love doing comedy. Like being a comedy heel is my mid-card comedy heel. That's like my comfort zone. I could do that all the time.
Yeah.
But like, you know, being like a bully sometimes. You know, that's kind of my level 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's basically it. It's your comedy or bully. You know, and as a baby face, just that.
Be a baby face.
As a baby face. A bully as a baby face.
What draws you to comedy so much? Because it's not often you hear that people... It's one of those things that people do, but it's not one of the things that people actively seek out to do.
I just really... I think it's not everyone can do it, so I like doing it in that way. And I think it's a really easy way to get a baby face over if they're not too experienced or if like they're new to somewhere or whatever. Like it's just an easy way. If you slip on a banana peel and make an ass of yourself, it's an easy way to get your opponent.
Yeah.
So like that draws me to it a bit, and not a lot of people do comedy, like you said. And so I like doing things that other people don't do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes you unique. What
Yeah.
got you into wrestling? Not just the comedy side of it, but overall.
Oh, just like watching
Yeah.
when I was younger? I don't remember not watching wrestling, so I don't really know how to answer that question. It's just has always been a part of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very, very cool. It's so. I never really watched a lot of the Attitude Era when I was younger. It's so cool to me. Like pretty much every wrestler I talk to doesn't remember when they started watching wrestling.
Yeah,
You know
it's a
what I mean?
sickness. We're all sick in the
What's your
head.
first real memory of whether it's watching or participating?
I think randomly WrestleMania 9.
Okay.
It was like the Caesar's Palace.
Yeah,
and
like literally the worst.
yeah, not good. Not a good. But I just remember like the entrances, and I remember Tito Santana and Shawn Michaels. I think that was a match. But I don't remember the match being very good. Or sorry, that match was fine, I'm sure. I don't remember the card being very good. But I just remember watching it live.
It looks good.
Sure.
The entire idea was good.
I like
Let's put it
Bobby
in Caesar's
Heenan.
Palace.
Yeah, it's like Bobby Heenan coming out with an elephant or whatever.
Oh, I love
Talking
it.
about
Macho
elephant.
Man, same thing.
Yeah, like
It
that
was
was
a good-looking
cool.
WrestleMania. If you were to watch that
Yeah.
thing as like a non-wrestling fan with the sound on, it's great.
Yeah, if you're like kind of half watching it, half not really paying attention, for sure.
Yeah, like you're cooking dinner.
Yeah,
It's the same way that I
exactly.
put Friends on.
Yeah,
It's like,
background.
okay, I can
yeah.
leave this on
Yeah,
here.
it's a sitcom of WrestleManias. But like my favorite WrestleMania was WrestleMania 10 for the longest time. Like we had a video store, Tom's Rentals,
Yeah.
and we would always, me and my brother would always rent out WrestleMania 10 over and over and over.
Yeah.
Like Bret Owen and like Sean Razor. Like how can you beat that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Well, seriously, Nicole, I'm going to wrap it up fairly shortly, but before I do, like, thank you so
Oh,
much.
of course.
I
I'm
said
glad
it
we were
before.
able to do this.
I'll say it again. Like, you're one of the best out there. You're one of my personal favorites, and it's just
Thank you.
awesome to have you on here. So, the one question I want to ask you, and then I'll just let you plug yourself after that. What advice would you give to anybody looking to get into wrestling?
I would find a good school. I would train hard and get good at your basics because it's very obvious when you're not.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so I know that's not very like motivational advice. And people are like, follow your dreams, blah blah blah. But like, it's
Do
like,
all of that too.
yeah, whatever. I don't really care if you do that. Yeah, fuck it.
I like you.
Let's be real. Like most people don't achieve them.
Follow your dreams if you're good at them. If you're not, like,
Yeah, just
figure
like-
something else out.
It's a good hobby on
Get a
the
new
side.
dream.
That's fine. But like seriously, if you find like there's a lot of, it doesn't even have to be like something like Lance Storm School, which is awesome school. But if that's not realistic for your budget or for your life, because you can't afford to take 3 months off your life or whatever, just like finding somewhere where there's reputable trainers. Like we have in BC, like me and Artemis Spencer run a school with Tony Brody, Cat Power, and Billy Swade. Like it's
Very,
ECCW
very
ran. Yeah, so it's like all really good wrestlers, and it's we've been churning out some really good talent lately. Mostly them working hard, but I can take credit for them because they're not here to take credit for themselves. So, and when they get famous, I'm going to take credit for all of them because a couple of them are going to be very, very famous soon. And
Very cool.
I'm going to take all the credit. I'll be like, it was me who trained them.
Are they all
And
wrestling
that's
for
why.
ECCW right
Yeah,
now?
They're
Very,
all
very
wrestling
cool.
and Travis Williams right tonight made his Defy debut. He's only been wrestling for a year and a half, so
That's awesome,
Yeah,
man. That's
yeah.
something to be proud of. Like,
totally.
like you say, it's their hard work, but you can't sit
Yeah.
and say you didn't have anything to do with it.
Well, I'm certainly going to take credit for it, but like it is their hard work. We have an awesome group of young talent in BC right now who like keeps busting their ass and working hard. Like, we'll run training. There'll be 20 people there. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's people who are trained. They're not like training. Well, we have obviously a few trainees, but we have people who are in like doing matches consistently and still come to training 2
Yeah.
or 3 times a week. It's nuts. So
That's awesome.
Yeah,
And
so
I mean,
they're
I
going to
only-
make it.
I only really know a ton about the Alberta independent scene, but like what you guys are doing out in BC.
Love it.
Even as just an observer,
Yeah.
I've never had a chance to make it out there, but I can't wait until I do.
March is crazy with shows. So if you ever want a month to come out, March is the
It's my
month.
birthday month. That's a
Oh,
perfect month.
dang, there you go.
It sounds like I'll see you in March. Nicole.
Okay.
Seriously.
Yes,
Thank you
that was
once
easy to
again.
convince you.
Well, no, you have me sold. Seriously, like, thanks again. I really
You're welcome.
appreciate it. Where can people find you?
On Twitter at @NMatthewsNinja. I'm at 19.9 thousand followers, so I need 100 more to get to 20,000, guys. Come on. Instagram with the same handle, and I don't check Facebook really, so just follow the Twitter and Instagram.
Find some Nicole Matthews out there.
Yeah,
you can contact.
exactly. My email for if anyone's listening to this and wants to book me, my email's in my Twitter handle or my Twitter bio. So Nicole.Matthews.wrestling@gmail.com.
Perfect. Well, those are three things that apply to you. You are Nicole Matthews. You do wrestle, and
I
damn,
do
do you do
wrestle.
it well.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Over the Top Rope on the Backbreaker Media Network, part of Win Column Sports with Nicole Matthews. That is former RCW Women's Champion, Nicole Matthews. It just means you have to come back, and I can tell you.
Yeah, revenge. I didn't get pinned.
You didn't get pinned?
You know?
You've got a realistic reason to come back.
Yes.
Honestly, I can't wait until you do. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Once again, just wanted to thank Nicole Matthews for appearing not only on this podcast, but making her way over to Alberta to appear for Real Canadian Wrestling. I know I speak for a lot of independent wrestling fans here in the area when we say how great it was. If you guys don't believe me, check out her match with Envy and Angelica from January 19th for Real Canadian Wrestling. You can check that out on Backbreaker, the Backbreaker Pivot Share, backbreaker.vod. I'd highly suggest it. A lot of people are touting it as an early match of the year candidate in Alberta, and you can plant me as one of those people. It was absolutely fantastic. It was something that I really hope we get to see again, regardless of where it is. I mean, I'd travel to BC for something like that. I know we talked a little bit about it there at the end with Miss Matthews, but there's great independent wrestling everywhere you go in Canada, so I won't even only highlight the great promotions here in Alberta, whether it be your CWE, your PWA, Real Canadian Wrestling, Monster Pro Wrestling, CWC down in Red Deer. There are so many great independent wrestling promotions to get out there and watch. So even if you're not in Alberta, if you're listening to this in BC, I'd head down and check out some ECCW shows. They're absolutely incredible. You heard Nicole speak about the wealth of talent coming out of British Columbia right now, and it's just a great time to be a Canadian independent wrestling fan. Next up for us here on Conversations with Love or Over the Top Rope or wherever you are listening to our beautiful voices on the Backbreaker Media, proud members of Win Column Sports. We're going to be hosting our next edition of Over the Top Rope live at the official home of Edmonton Wrestling, Beercade on White Avenue, the official sponsor of Win Column Sports. We're very, very excited to be there. So if you've got the chance, come in, hop on the broadcast, and watch a good old weekend of wrestling with your favorite hosts of Over the Top Rope, myself and my brother of discussion, Hayden Love. Guys, once again, I wanted to thank you for not only listening to Conversations with Love, but checking out your local independent wrestling and supporting your local independent athletes, whether it be Nicole Matthews over in British Columbia, or whether it be any one of the fine talents here in Alberta, or whether you be in a town that I haven't heard of yet. I can guarantee to you that there is some high-quality professional wrestling for you to go and enjoy. So thank you once again for listening to my advice, and thank you once again for listening to Conversations with Love with your host, Spencer Love, on Backbreaker Media, a proud member of Win Column Sports.